Hi, my name is James Deaver with Dana Water Systems. Today I'm going to show you how to change a set of filters on a reverse osmosis system. This system here happens to be a Dana 6, which you can purchase on our website. Many systems out there, about 90%, have the same filters that you see here. We have a white sedimentation filter and a carbon filter. Regardless whether it's a Dana system or another system, these filters should work for your system. Now we're going to walk you through the process of what you need to change these filters. As you can see, you need the two filters, the white sedimentation or the carbon. Now you will also need a filter wrench. This wrench, because of these grooves and the long handle, make changing these filters much easier. This wrench, along with the filters and other parts, are available on the web store. This wrench, you simply slide it underneath the outer housing of the filter, and as you can see, the grooves and the outer housing allow the teeth on the wrench to grab that housing. It'll hook on to these grooves of the outside housing, and you will turn just like you would a screwdriver, left or right. Left to loosen, right to tighten. Also, when you do this, you're going to want to have some paper towels, a towel or something to dry up the little bit of water that will drip from the system as you're changing these filters. The first thing you want to do when you open up the cabinet to change the filters is to look for the valve on top of the water tank. You're going to want to turn it horizontal to turn the tank off. The second one is the valve on the back of the cabinet wall. This will shut off the water to the RO system and keep water from spraying out when you open up the housing. The next one, sometimes you will see a valve here on the supply line to turn off the water to the system. You can use the valve on the back of the wall or the valve right here at the supply. This valve works just like the other two valves we just showed. You will turn it horizontal to the supply line. This will shut off flow to the reverse osmosis system. If the valve on the back of the wall or this valve seem to not be working correctly or tough to turn off, you can also turn the water off at the house. There's a valve on the outside of the home that will shut off the water to the whole home, to the whole house. The next step after you have the water off, you're going to need to go up to your valve on top of your faucet on top of the sink and bleed the pressure off. Just open the valve really quickly and then shut it back off. That'll take the pressure out of the system, allowing you to open the housing without any trouble. Let's open the housing now and change the filters. First, the one on the left. I'll unscrew the top here. What you'll see once you're in here, you'll see the filter. This one obviously needs to be changed, and what you'll do, you'll let the water drain out and set this in the sink. You want to make sure that this O-ring inside the housing is still in place. You'll take the water out of the housing and you'll pour it into the sink as well. You'll take the wrapping off of this and slide it into the housing. Always check to make sure that your rubber seal on top of this housing is in place and hasn't stuck to the top of this to make sure you get a good seal after the filter goes back on. As you can see, it's a black O-ring you'll see right on top of the housing. After you're done, put it up underneath and screw the housing up tight with your hands. The last turn, you're going to take the wrench and give it one snug turn to the right. The second filter in the back is slightly different than the one in the front. As we showed you earlier, this white filter will go in the front, and a carbon filter will be your second and third filters if your system has a third canister hanging from the unit. Then you'll proceed to the back housing, which is the carbon filter. Once you have removed the canister, it is important to inspect to make sure that this rubber ring on top of the filter is still in place on top and on bottom. As you can see here, the one on the bottom is not in place. If you were to replace and put the new filter, this new filter into the canister, the new filter has its own rubber seal. With two rubber seals, as you replace this back onto the unit, it will leak because there's two rubber seals and not one. As you can see, in the bottom of the cartridge is the old seal from the old filter. It is crucial that this seal is pulled out before the new filter is placed. Once you've inspected the bottom of the cartridge to make sure there is no extra seal, it is okay to place the new filter with both seals in place into the cartridge. Once you've hand tightened it, once again take the wrench for the last portion and tighten that housing. After you have that done, take a towel and wipe up the little water that has dripped out of the system during the changing. The next thing that's really important is the pressure in this tank right here. This tank in the bottom has a bladder that gives you pressure so that when you open your reverse osmosis faucet, you will have pressure and the water will come out. Right here at the bottom, once you remove the valve cover, it is now time to repressurize the tank. You can use a bike pump and a regular tire pressure gauge to measure the pressure in this system. Our bike pump happens to have a pressure gauge on it, so we just need the simple bike pump. The first step is to hook the bike pump up to the tank. Once you've done this, you'll get a reading on the PSI meter. This is important to make sure that you're taking the pressure once the tank has been emptied. If the tank is full, you will get a much higher reading and you will get a false reading on your pressure gauge. Make sure the tank is empty, then take your pressure reading. It should read 10 psi with an empty tank. If the pressure is too low or too high, change the pressure by adding air if it's too low, or bleed the air out of the valve to bring the pressure back down to 10 psi. The tank is much like a bicycle tire. You need to keep the pressure right to keep the tire or the tank from being damaged over time. Once you've set the pressure correctly on the tank, remove the bike pump and replace the valve cover on the tank. After the pressure's been set and the filter's been changed, you'll turn all the valves back on. Start with the valve in the back with the water supply. Next, go to the tank and turn the tank valve back on. After that, walk around the system and check any hoses that may be leaking. After that, go up and check your water and make sure that it is functioning and you get water coming out. Once you have changed the filters and the water is back on, it'll take roughly 3 hours for the tank to fully pressurize and be filled. You want to come back after that 3 hours and make sure you have no leaks. After that point, the RO system will be fully functional and ready for use. Once we've changed and serviced this unit, I just want to drop you a quick reminder that the wrench and these filters can be purchased on the web store and sent to you so that you can service your own unit when your unit is needing filter replacement. The purpose of changing the filters is to protect the reverse osmosis part of your water system. That makes sure that your water stays pure and clean for the years to come. In order to test how well your reverse osmosis system is working, you can use a TDS tester, which is total dissolved solutes. This measures all the calcium, the magnesium, all the different pieces that are in the water and tells you how much is in there. So let's test this system today. What you'll do with this tester is, as you can see, it's got an on-off button, and down here it's got a little cap. This cap here you're going to fill full of water, and then you stick the tester in it, and it'll read out a digital reading of how much solutes are in your water. So what you'll do is you'll turn the water on, let it run for a second, and then you'll run a couple cups full of water here just to clean out this cap to make sure the water is true to what's in your system. Once you get enough water in there, you'll take this tester, like I said, turn it on, and stick that into the cap. It should read somewhere between 50 and 100 total dissolved solutes in your water. That is a purified, clean water level that you're looking for. If you have any questions about what we have done here today, you can refer to the owner's manual for the reverse osmosis system. This will answer any of your questions. If you cannot find your owner's manual or do not have a system that came with one, you can refer to our website for a general reverse osmosis system manual, and it will answer most of your questions. I just wanted to mention before we leave today that any parts you see underneath the sink here for your reverse osmosis system or a soft water unit, we have on our web store for your convenience. Thank you.